On today's episode of Homeworthy, we're going to Dallas, Texas to take you on a tour of interior designer Javier Burke's eclectic and cozy bungalow. He renovated the home in 2015 and restored all of the rooms to its original glory. The home is beautifully layered with textiles, patterns, and color, and is filled with treasures from trips abroad. Enjoy! You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Like and subscribe for more.
Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Javier. Welcome to my Dallas, Texas home. Come on in. Hello, I'm Javier Burke. Welcome to my house here in Dallas, Texas. I'm an interior designer and I can't wait to show you my home. A little bit about my background. I grew up in Mexico City. I went to college here, and then I actually went to work for Neiman Marcus in their buying office. After that, I decided to transition back into a little bit more creative, which was through Ralph Lauren. I started working in their home department. I was there for a couple of years, and they were the ones that actually pushed me to start my own company and to kind of help them from an outside with visual and merchandising. So that was 6 years ago when I started my own company, and everything kind of just changed from there. So office is now based in the house, and I have a couple employees that help me with the projects that we're working on. So this home is a 1937 cottage bungalow. It's kind of like an English-inspired house that we wanted to bring back to its original style and aesthetics. So this house is actually completely different than when we bought it. We had to switch quite a bit of things and update a lot of it. One of the original things in the house is, of course, all the stone around it outside, and then the floors. Other than that, everything else has been updated and changed. So this is our living room. This is kind of the place where we welcome our friends to have a cocktail before we go to dinner. This is kind of like the cozy place where we're during the holidays, we have our Christmas tree, where we exchange gifts, where we have our fireplace on. This is actually maybe the third time we've remodeled this room. Second time we adopted a new puppy that destroyed our couches. So after that, I found this painting that kind of gave me the full inspiration for the room. I love the combination of the navy with the rust, with kind of like a little bit of a masculine look to it, adding a little bit of fun color. So that was kind of like the first piece that I picked for this rendition of the living room. I love that this is kind of like an easy conversation room. We want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable. There's stools that you can pull out if you want to just come and sit. The fireplace is original, and we wanted to keep a couple of things original to the house. We also raised the ceiling in this room in this last renovation, which made it feel a lot different than the 9-foot ceilings. So that was a huge change because I was obsessed with this light, and this light needed to make it home. So this is a Ralph Lauren chandelier. And I love the combination with the brass and the leather. Gives it kind of like a masculine but old school look to the room. Clearly working at Ralph Lauren kind of influenced a lot of my look. All that combination of like metals with leather with kind of like a European international look. Also kind of a little bit of American and masculine, kind of like influenced in every single room. I love it that it feels lived. It doesn't need to feel like it's a gallery or like a show house. It's kind of like a lived room where you want to be comfortable. That's what I want my guests to feel. And also us, when we're just around and we're just by the fireplace or just reading, having a drink. It just needs to be lived and comfortable. So this is actually a pair of chests that I found from Scout Design. I told them that if they could find a place, this would be it. I love the storage, but I also love kind of like the combination of the stone with a little bit of a vintage wood. Again, since we kept kind of like the look of the house, I wanted to bring some of the vintage pieces that give it a little bit more original character. I clearly like some layers, so there's always books and trays and like the layers of like different items. Again, every single piece in the house has a little bit of history. This came from a trip to Turkey. This was drawn by my grandmother. She is an artist. Just every single thing has a little bit of a story during our travels or our family. That kind of makes it a little bit more special.
That is an unbelievable piece of art.
Thanks. She is very, very creative and she's super talented. That is one of, I think, 5 pieces that I own of hers, and they're kind of like my most precious pieces that I would love to save forever. So this actually is another Ralph Lauren piece that I actually bought a couple years ago from an estate sale. It actually holds my favorite book in the house. This was my grandfather's original drawings of the Mexican cathedral. It was given to me by my grandmother. She knew that I was going into design and architecture, so this was kind of like her, you can do it, this is in your blood, go for it kind of thing. It's kind of like one of my favorite pieces, and it's super special. The rest, as you can tell, is all layers. And of course, there's always my turtle shells. I love a turtle shell theme. You'll see them throughout the house. There's quite a bit of them. They come everywhere. And I love kind of like the story of like the shell is kind of like different for every single one, but also it's kind of like, okay, that one's someone's home. I love thinking of someone's like home as something special and unique. So that's kind of like a unique for that one turtle. So this is the original mantle from the house. We actually just lacquered it and changed the tile to give it a little bit of an updated look. We love the scale, and it kind of gives the height of the ceiling still even more of an impact when you walk in. I love lacquering things in black. I feel like it just gives you kind of like a new air of fresh air. And it just feels a lot more like updated, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like it lost its character. I don't have the best green thumb, but I love having plants around. So I love changing it out and having as many plants around. I feel like it just gives the room a lot of life and a lot of like color, just that kind of changes seasonally. That's actually a plant that was given by one of our best friends on our first trip to Mexico City together. And it's actually the plant that survived the longest, which is, crossing my fingers, will still be there for a while. So
How old is it?
I'm gonna say maybe like 4.5 years old. And it's actually a plant that's actually original to Mexico City. So that's why they were like, thanks for taking us to Mexico and showing us your home. Want to bring a little bit of Mexico to your house. Keep it alive kind of thing. And it's been there. It's still there. Okay, so this is actually, we call her Monique. I've had her for a couple, like she's moved with me a couple times. I bought her at the Saks Fifth Avenue closing here in Dallas. It was kind of like their closing sale. Everyone was buying fixtures. And of course, I ended up buying a gigantic picture. We call her Monique because that was actually my roommate at the time. And she kind of looked like her. So we kept saying to all of our guests that that was her. So she's moved with us. It's one of my favorite pieces. I love the scale. I feel like when you buy bigger art and like smaller rooms, it just makes the room feel bigger and a little bit more special. So that's a fun piece that will move with me again. So we had been looking for a home in this neighborhood for a couple years. We drove up and down these streets every weekend trying to figure out what the best house was going to be. And this actually came as a hit pocket, which was that it was not in the market, but it was coming up. So we came to see it the first day that it came out, and we knew exactly that this was the project that we wanted to take. So the house was in good condition, as in like the structure was actually very strong still. Other than that, electric had to be changed, plumbing had to be updated, windows had to be completely switched out. So it had a good bones that just needed a lot of love. Welcome to the dining room. This is actually one of my favorite rooms in the house. Love hosting dinner parties. I want people to be comfortable and have the most fun time having conversations. This room, I wanted to actually keep it a little cozy. So we didn't raise the ceiling in here. We wanted to make it still look like super moody and dark. Candle lit whenever we're doing our dinner parties. This is actually one of my most, like one of the most special walls in the house. I love layering the grass cloth with all these paintings that have a little meaning and different history to it. So one of my favorite things is actually this golden egg. This is actually the centerpiece for our golden egg dinner party. It actually holds your flatware, and we have a different theme every month for our golden eggs. So it sits 6, everyone has to bring a different course, and we change it every month. So for example, for September, it's Mexican Independence, so we do Mexican themed food. For November, we do a Thanksgiving dinner. For December, we'll do a little Christmas. But we change it up every month, and it's always the same group of people. The golden egg is always the centerpiece, and I just do the flower arrangements and the candle, depending on the theme. My favorite drink is tequila and soda. So clearly this is the tequila mezcal side. That is what we mix every weekend with just a little Topo Chico, not even lime or lemon, just straight up. And this is kind of like for the rest of the people that come over. These are actually tequilas too, but clearly that's the influence that we like serving. This This is just an easy bar. I love having the bar in the dining room so that when you're like having dinner, we can just serve straight. You don't have to get up to go to the kitchen. There's a couple pieces that are kind of meaningful. This actually came from my partner, Mason. He's had that piece for a long time. And I thought it was kind of like fun with a equestrian theme, Ralph Lauren look. I also love monkeys, as I've mentioned. So having a little monkey in every room is kind of like a little special and kind of fun to just have it just peeking and having a little cigarette while you're having dinner. The ceiling in this room is actually one of my favorite things. This was painted by Ashley Braithwaite. She used 18 pencils to do it. And it's kind of fun because as you walk around, when you walk in, you see kind of one side of the clouds, but when you go to the other side, it kind of like changes. And at night, it kind of glows a little different. So it's a really fun effect that she created. It's all pencil lines that she worked on. Yeah, she was here for almost 2 weeks, just doing little lines all over the ceiling. She had to get a really good massage after. But it's a super fun effect. I feel like people, when you're sitting at the table, it's kind of fun to look up and just look at the clouds. My favorite thing about the room is that we could fit a round table. I love having a round table because it's just like so easy for conversation. When it's a long table, I feel like communication gets a little lost between the two sides. With this, it's just one single table, one single round. There's no head of the table or special seats other than the couch. The couch is definitely a little more comfortable than the seats, but still, it's still a round table, so everyone has the same opportunity to have a conversation and you can hear each other. Anytime that I can do a round table at a project, that's what I like pushing for. I think dark colors on the wall is actually kind of like a lost myth that if it's dark, the room is going to feel smaller. Yes, it's going to make it moodier, but it's not going to make it feel the size different. It's actually all about the lighting. So even painting your walls or doing a black grass cloth like this room, like it actually makes it even kind of go a little bit deeper out. And it's just kind of like the art kind of floating, which makes it even bigger. It's all about the lighting and like, of course, the look that you're wanting to go for. For this room, I would definitely wanted to create it a little bit moodier and darker and like where you feel a little bit more comfortable. That is actually a painting of the French Revolution. My grandmother's French. So when I found this at an antique shop, I was like, I need to take that and that should go somewhere else special. It actually hung in my powder bathroom in my last place for the longest time, and people had the longest conversations about like the nicest piece in my house being in the powder bath. And now, of course, it's in the dining room. It's kind of like everyone's having a dinner at this place. It's kind of connection with the dining area. It was just kind of fun to kind of bring some of the French inspiration from like a family, you know, style, heirloom kind of thing. So.
And it's right next to the lobster.
Right next to the French lobster. Which is, I found that at Round Top last year. One of my best friends and I went together and he was obsessed with the lobster and I was like, I'm just gonna buy it because I don't know, it's just fun. But it actually fit perfect in the dining room. I was like, perfect, kind of like dinner theme. So, and it's a fun pop of color that I was not expecting it was gonna work in this room. Those pieces of art are always like, some people wanted to design a room around their piece of art. Some people kind of like are the opposite, like design a room and then the art will find its place. This is kind of like one of those that it was like the last piece that found its little corner and kind of added a little color. Another one of my favorite collections is these spies. They were actually a gift from a client. They're the Vanity Fair spies. Each one is a different gentleman, and it actually has the history in the back of what they did or what their profession was. There's a lot of different versions of them. These were actually a gift, and they're one of my favorite pieces. I love that each one is kind of looking a different way. It kind of creates a little bit of a different mood, and like they're either staring at you at the table or they're like talking about you kind of like behind your back kind of thing. So those are kind of fun pieces. I love doing the sofa in the dining room. I feel like it's kind of like a special place, but also I kind of wanted to add a different fabric and a different shape, that it didn't just feel like a collection of chairs. I kind of like adding that extra like feeling and like color just to make it a little bit different and not just like a, you about to say it, you know, as this 8 chairs and that's all matching. I call myself a collected maximalist. So we love layers. We love having a lot of items that have stories. We love traveling. So every time that we go somewhere new, we try to bring something that kind of reminds us of our trips. We also love combining our home heirlooms. So every single piece that has something from our family that means something, we put it out just to like kind of remind us of where we come from. Okay, so this is the kitchen. This is one of the biggest transformations in the house. This was actually done a couple years after we moved in because I just wanted to understand what the layout and the functionality of the kitchen needed to be. Mainly, we wanted to center the stove and make the windows kind of like focal points. The stove used to be to the side, the sink used to be kind of like in an awkward position. So we actually made the windows bigger, created a little sink area, center the stove, and make this tile and built in. It's kind of like the focal point. With the kitchen, again, I didn't want it to look just like a brand new kitchen. I still wanted to bring some of the character of the original house. So that's why I wanted to do kind of like a different shape on the built-ins, not just kind of like all squared out, and add a little bit of like natural tones with the brass for it to look like it belonged to the original house. This is kind of like a little island. This kitchen, as much as it would be fun to cook in it, it's actually just for prepping and making drinks. But we, as you know, the center of the house is always the kitchen. So we love having our friends just kind of like coming around, and we want it to be a little bit bigger so that people just like surround the island and hang out while we're just prepping the catering food. Originally, this side was actually just pantry slash washer and dryer, and we wanted to incorporate this kind of like as part of the kitchen. So kind of give it a little bit more of an easier flow with the hallway. So speaking of catering, we host a Friendsgiving once a year with about 30 people. Almost every single piece of that catering is actually cooked by someone else. We don't usually do anything. But same with the holidays, we throw a Christmas party and we do chicken fingers from Cane's. If you're from Texas or Mississippi, you'll understand Cane's is the best chicken with the cane sauce. And we'll just do towers of Cane's chicken here in that island in the kitchen and in the office, so people can kind of walk around and like have food as they're drinking and enjoying the carolers. All the sauces are in gravy boats. To kind of dress it up, you still need to like make it special during the holidays. So gravy boats and silver platters, everything's served to the nines just to make it look a little more holiday friendly and special. Another one of my favorite things is actually having the bigger windows and be able to look out of the pool in the renovated backyard. When we're having a party, it's kind of fun to see if anyone needs drinks or if we need to like be bringing anything out just to kind of like enjoy the view. We'll go see the bedrooms, but we'll go to the backyard in a little bit. The lighting is actually super special. It came from a French elementary school. This antique dealer in McKinney found it. They had a set of 3. I wish I could have fit all 3, but there's only space for 1, and it's one of my favorite things in the house. So even though I don't like to cook, I love hosting dinner parties. So this is the glassware collection, just setting up different themes for our dinner parties. And this is all the china and plates for all the times that we have people over for dinner.
So you have many themes.
Yes. I mean, we host at least 1 dinner party a month, and I don't think I've set the same table twice. These actually came from Target. I'm obsessed with them, and this is actually our next dinner party theme. We're gonna do a Mexican Dia de los Muertos idea, so this is gonna go with all the terracotta colors. Super excited about the shape. I thought it was super different. So same as high and low, I love combining old and new. So this is my grandmother's china, and I love combining with kind of an updated chargers or glassware. It's kind of fun to have a different combination of patterns on your table. So that's kind of fun to bring a little bit of history with some of the new, even a Target find. So before we go into the bedroom, this is kind of like the connection between the living, dining area, and the bedroom side. This is our hallway, which is kind of like our catch-all bookcases, but also every single thing in it has a little bit of a meaning. For example, this is a painting that I got made of our dogs. It's a little sketch made by this artist here in Dallas. It's kind of fun. That is my grandmother's silver set that I love having, just so I kind of look at it. And think of like fun times with her having a little tea in her house. Of course, I love collecting coffee table books, and it gives me kind of like a color organization attack to be able to like add more books in here. each book, of course, kind of like inspiration, and most of them are interior design, but of course fashion kind of like goes hand in hand with all that. So a couple other pieces. Again, love Ralph Lauren, so a little Ralph Lauren skull that when I was working there was kind of like my goodbye gift when I left the company. Love a blue and white jar. I feel like that's always timeless and it kind of goes in every single shelf. This was actually a set of 6. It was supposed to be maybe at the pharmacy, and each one had a different ingredient, so it's kind of fun because I was able to split them, and there's a couple of them hidden in other bookcases. Another one of my favorite items are these tiny little hands. Of course, it's a miniature version, but this is a mold to making gloves. Not the fancy kind, just kind of like the plastic, like wash your dishes, latex, like not your everyday one, not your special one. So I love those little quirky little moments to kind of layer in your bookcases and have a little story. Welcome to the bedroom. This is the primary bedroom of the house. This is kind of like our cozy, more intimate, kind of like more comfortable room in the house. I wanted to make it very masculine with a lot of textures and more of a warmer space. We added the texture in the ceiling. I call the ceiling the 5th wall of a room. It's kind of fun to add a little bit of a different impact just to kind of open the space and not just have one giant white wall that doesn't have that much of a interest to the eye. I love layering different colors and patterns on a bed. I think the more texture and interest that you can put on a bed is kind of like more inviting and definitely more comfortable. There's a lot of inspiration from Ralph Lauren, of course. I love doing kind of like the same Ralph Lauren kind of gallery walls with collecting of different pieces, different areas, adding a little bit of color. I love adding reading lights kind of like just at night when you're just wanting like a little bit of a mood light. And of course, I love adding the bamboo shades so that you don't have to be closing your curtains every single time. It just makes it a little easier, and now that's a little bit more of like a natural texture to it as well. Yeah, there's different space in the room. I mean, this is definitely where I kind of sit in the morning and kind of just check my email, check my mail, kind of get some work done. This is kind of like when we're watching TV, it's kind of nice to just be able to sit and not just be on the bed and laying down. That's kind of like a corner that's kind of just cozy for like a reading nook. Kind of nice with the natural light from the doors and a little reading light. I like creating different moments in every room, different stations. I kind of you move around where it's not just all focused on the bed. I can't sleep without a fan, so we definitely had to make it a little bit special. I always make fun of my clients that they say we need a fan in the bedroom, but at the same time, I'm one of those people. In Texas, you definitely need it. If we lose power and you don't have a fan, you're gonna have to move out of your house. So that is a must in a bedroom. Okay, this dresser is a vintage Bloomingdale's design. It is supposed to look like it's a turtle shell, but it's actually all bamboo that has been treated to look like the effect of a turtle shell. So clearly I was going to be obsessed with it. Of course, it's great storage, and I just love layering it surrounding the TV so the TV is not just the focal point. Even setting the lamp kind of like a little bit in front of it kind of makes it like a little bit more layered and not just what you look at when you first look at the wall. I think lampshades are one of the most important things in a room. It's kind of like another white canvas that should be interesting and texturized and add a little bit of color. So most of the lampshades in the house or at clients' houses, I like doing something interesting with it. Originally, this was a window. So I was able to find these vintage doors that we just needed to cut the stone out, stone that we actually used to do the little step that takes us out to the pool. Welcome to the backyard. So this was actually a year project. We had a little issue with some trees that were growing back here when we originally bought the house. That was the original driveway to the garage, and that back area was kind of like just the mist area. So we had to take all these trees out, clean it all up, and that's when we decided that we need to do different areas in the backyard. So this is off of the primary, which is kind of like where we laid out, like lay in the morning and kind of like check our mail, kind of like have a little bit of a get the day started moment. And this is actually our entertaining area. We love having people over to the pool and then grilling and like just enjoying the fireplace. And It's not a huge size, but it's kind of fun because this is what we call our drinking pool. It has a bench all around. So we're not going to be doing laps. We're actually just going to be relaxing and sitting around. So the inspiration for the backyard area is actually bringing a little bit of my Mexican heritage. I love kind of like how the properties in Mexico and the haciendas have like the big stone walls, but also it kind of creates like a living area. It's not just like a backyard for certain activities. We actually want to create like a full living space where you can have pretty much your entire life out here. So there's like your dining and you're sitting and like you're hanging out. There's not just specific activities that you come and do out. It's kind of like year round, sit by the fire or like have a dinner party. So that was kind of like the main inspiration. I love also the idea of like the black and white to kind of keep it consistent with the house. So we love the idea of like painting all the stone white to make it a little bit cleaner and just making the pop of black and like the built-in pergola and some of the furniture. So the space when we first bought the house is actually just grass, pretty much in this area where the pool is. Everything else was pretty bad looking, not very healthy trees that we actually had to take care of. And at some points they were actually not able to survive. So we decided to take everything down and just make it a little bit more open and more of like a clean space. Now let me show you one of my favorite things. When we built the pool, I always said that I wanted to have an outdoor shower. So we were able to add it to this side of the house, kind of giving us a little bit of a privacy and a little bit of an oasis back here. Actually, I come here a lot, way more than my regular shower. So it's kind of nice to have the option. With the Texas heat, it's kind of nice also after the pool to come and take a cold shower after you've been in the pool and like just go to dinner right after. So it's kind of nice to have the option, and it's an outdoor shower. Just being outside is kind of like the nicest thing to have. So this was actually a gift from one of our best friends. They came from New Mexico. They're just dried chilies. It's super fun because like as the summers change, like as the weather keeps changing, the chilies keep changing colors. I don't know if at some point we might use it to make some salsa or something, but they're kind of a fun little texture addition to just hang in the shower. So now we're going to the office. This actually used to be the original detached garage to the house. So we decided to finish it out and have a working space / presentation room to have our clients in. So again, this is another room that we decided to raise the ceiling to make it a little more spacious, add a little window, add a lot of glass doors, and we had a little bathroom in this room as well. I know, this space we actually wanted to make it a little bit more neutral, a little bit less moody and dark, just to feel a little bit more welcoming and a little bit more of a creative space. It's easier for us to have a presentation without having all these distractions of like moody, and like it's easier to see the colors and like see all the textures that we're showing our clients. So this is kind of like where we do a lot of presentations. This is our communal desk, so it's kind of like a creative space where we all kind of like come up with ideas and concepts for our projects. I feel like I've been able to combine my Mexican heritage with my American education in creating a very collected and like, I would say maybe like a little international look, which kind of helps differentiate and kind of like create a little bit of a Mexican spice to my aesthetics. My favorite thing about this home, it's kind of hard to pick just one, but I kind of love that it has some history and that we were able to restore it to its original like value, and like everything is kind of like looks new, but nothing changed to what it actually looked almost 100 years ago. I love the little spaces. I love having different rooms for different occasions. I don't mind an open concept home, but I love being able to host people in different parts of the house with different feelings. So if we're in this room, it's kind of fun to have a drink and make it cozy and have the fire on. And then when the dinner's ready, we move into the dining room and have more of like a conversation, sit down, drinks, and just spend the rest of the evening. So it's kind of special about the home. This is the primary bathroom. This is a room that we spent quite a bit of time in the morning, and we had this mural made by one of our local friends, artist. Her name is Ashley Braithwaite. She spent 5 weeks here working on all the details. And I love that she hid kind of a couple little things throughout the walls. For example, this is my favorite tequila. She put on my little bench on my side. She did like a little squirrel. And then on this side, this is my initial and my partner's initials on the tree. This is my family crest. So it's kind of fun that as we kind of like lived in it, we found a lot of other different like things that she hid in there, which is kind of really fun. Something that I love doing is turning pieces of furniture into vanities, so they already have a little bit of character and it doesn't look just like a built-in. These are actually pieces that I found a couple years ago that I transformed into vanities. The only thing that you need to do is kind of like rework the drawers to make sure that all the plumbing works with your sinks and faucets. Again, I wanted to go back to the original look of the house, so that's why we decided to do the two faucets, one cold, one hot, instead of like doing just like the traditional two sides. Going to this side, the original shower, tub, water closet area was completely different. So I decided to open it all up and create just one wet area. So we have his and his showers with the tub in the middle. It used to be a shower, a tub, and then the water closet on this side. So we just wanted to create just one big area, kind of like make it a little bit more interesting and a little bit more spacious and symmetric with the rest of the bathroom. It's actually pretty nice. It's kind of nice also that you don't have to rush someone to be able to get into the shower. You can take your time and, you know, do your own schedule in the morning. Welcome to the closet. This used to be my office, but since I needed a little bit more storage, we had to move the office to the garage and move my closet in here. I think a dressing room is one of the most important rooms in the house. I feel like that's where you get inspired to like what you're gonna look like for the day. And one of my favorite things is changing my shoes. Clearly I have a little bit of a problem with smoking slippers. I have a collection of smoking slippers and Sabas, which are some of the most comfortable shoes. And I love that that's kind of like the focal point whenever I need to get dressed. Some of my favorite things in this room are actually the lights. Those are Timothy Alton. I love the theme of like a top hat for like a closet. It actually kind of gives you good light, but also it's kind of like a fun conversation and little work of art sculpture looking. I love doing everything by color and kind of like changing it by season. So we did all the hanging and all the sweaters just on top. It's a very organized mess. I know where everything is, although it looks like there's a lot going on in here. So I'm clearly a collector and I love a little maximalist. So this is the collection of ties. I barely wear a tie. It's only if it's necessary. And there's a little moment where it's just like some of my most special, intimate pieces. That is a Birkin bag that my mom used to carry. She didn't like it and it was a little bit too heavy for her. So she gave it to me so I could frame it and keep it in my closet. This is actually one of my other favorite pieces. This actually came from the original Neiman Marcus downtown. And I feel like it's super special. It was in the dressing room in one of the biggest stores in the country, and I was able to get one of the pieces here. These are my favorite stubs. I feel like it kind of talks about like my everyday today. They're like paint splattered, which is exactly how I feel every single day after work. I feel like when I wear them, I feel like I'm already like ready to go for the day and get to the projects and get the paint going. Welcome to the den. This is where we watch our TV and hang out on like Sunday afternoons. This room actually was all inspired by the painting hanging by the window. That's actually my grandmother's self-portrait. That was one of her tests when she was graduating from art school. So when she gifted me that, I kind of wanted to create a room around those colors, and that's why this room turned out to be navy and like browns. This is just kind of like a cozy room that we love just to hang out. Again, I love adding a little detail on the ceiling just to make it a little more interesting. This is a wallpaper that looks like fabric, but it gives you that linen denim look. So something that I love doing is actually finding vintage pieces, either in the art or in pieces of furniture. That side table, for example, came from my estate sale a couple blocks away, and it's one of my favorite pieces. This dresser came from Round Top a couple years ago, and I paid, I think, $200, and it just gives it so much character, and it feels like it kind of brings everything together. Same with the art. There's several pieces that is just kind of like the fun story of where I found it, either at a vintage shop or at an estate sale. It's kind of fun to layer those pieces with some of the new things that you find, just to create that balance.
What does the word home mean to you?
That's your safe place. That's where you keep your most valuable things, of course, and where you should be like the most comfortable. And also it's kind of like the place that you welcome people to get to know you a little better. This is kind of like your most intimate place that you open up to other people.
Thanks for watching. For more Homeworthy content, be sure to like and subscribe.